All right, let's jump right in. As I sit here making this YouTube video for you, and as you sit there watching it probably because some algorithm perfectly predicted you'd click on it, we are literally living out the exact phenomenon we're unpacking today. We're looking at a massive, profound shift in how human beings actually experience existence. I mean, think about it. We rely on screens, predicted text, and AI to mediate almost every part of our lives now. And it's fundamentally changing our entire relationship with what we actually consider to be real.
To really grasp where we're headed, we've got to look back at the poet T.S. Eliot. He wrote this line, "Between the idea and the reality falls the shadow." It's kind of chilling, right? Well, our source material points out that artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming that exact shadow in our modern lives. It's sitting right there, squarely between our human ideas and our physical reality, completely blurring the lines of what's true, what's possible, and what's just a really good simulation.
So, I've got to hit you with the big question right up front. Is AI actually putting an end to reality? Now, don't panic. We aren't talking about the end of the physical world or some apocalyptic event, but our author makes the case that we are absolutely facing the end of reality as a concept. See, reality isn't just the physical stuff around us. It's a specific attitude. It's a practice we've relied on for centuries to figure out our place in the universe, and right now, that attitude is completely breaking down.
So let's break this down, starting with Section 1, the age of realism.
Historically speaking, humanity's focus has totally shifted over time. Back in the Middle Ages, people lived in this era of actuality. The focus was entirely on what people did, deeds, events, rituals. But then, fast forward to the Enlightenment, and philosophers like Descartes shifted our whole perspective over to realism. Suddenly, everything was about what we could prove. It was about observing the world, referencing cold hard facts, and figuring out what's objectively true or false. But today, with modern AI, we are leaving realism behind and entering virtualism. We're moving away from truth and reference, and instead, we're diving headfirst into an era dominated by what machines can predict and generate.
Living in that older age of realism came with a very specific burden. The philosopher Michel Foucault called this the doublet, the idea that the human being is basically split in two. You're a referential observer, but you're also an empirical object. In plain English, you are a conscious mind making choices, but you're also a physical body with biological limits. The author gives a super relatable example of this. Think about when you manually turn down your computer's brightness at night. You, the conscious observer, take action to protect your empirical biological brain from being tricked by the blue light. You're actively managing your own reality. But what happens when an automated machine just steps in and does all of that for you?
Which brings us to Section 2, the rise of virtualism.
This perfectly illustrates our complete paradigm shift. Over on the left, you've got realism. It's all about truth, tracing things back to facts through human observation. But on the right, virtualism, driven by AI, and here's the kicker, it doesn't care about truth or reference at all, not even a little bit. It only cares about generating effects and predicting patterns. If an algorithm suggests the perfect video for you to watch next, it doesn't care about the deep truth of who you are, it just cares that the algorithmic reality effect worked and it successfully predicted your behavior.
The absolutely crucial point here is that virtualism operates in this totally eerie middle ground. The author calls it the not. Think about it. When a generative AI writes an essay for you, is it thinking? Well, no, not really. It doesn't have a conscious mind. But it's also not thinking, right? It's generating logical sequences, making decisions, and yeah, occasionally hallucinating totally bizarre historical facts with absolute confidence. It just completely shatters our traditional definitions of what is real or actual.
And that leads us right into Section 3, the new uncanny valley. For decades, philosophers loved to debate this thought experiment called philosophical zombies. The idea was, what if there were human-like, unconscious entities that behaved exactly as if they were conscious? For a long time, that was just a fun academic debate. But as our source points out, AI has taken this niche thought experiment and dragged it straight into everyday reality. You and I interact with chatbots, customer service bots, and digital avatars all the time now. They perfectly mimic empathy, but there is absolutely zero inner life going on behind the screen.
Let's ground this philosophy in a truly horrifying example from the text, receiving a deep-fake phone call from a daughter in distress. Imagine picking up the phone and hearing your loved one's voice, perfectly replicated, begging for help. Your biological empathy is instantly hijacked by unconscious code. This completely blurs the lines of interaction and consequence. We are literally interacting with virtual zombies, and the emotional toll it takes on us is very, very real, even if the voice on the other end is entirely fake.
Moving on to Section 4, Dangerous Category Mistakes.
We're going to rapid fire through 4 major category mistakes where society is basically failing to understand virtualism right now.
Mistake number 1, alternative facts. We keep trying to use old-school fact-checking on post-truth politics, but it just doesn't work. Why? Because these aren't real facts. They're virtualized truths. They hold immense power and influence over how people behave, but they have absolutely zero reference to reality. They are completely immune to fact-checking because they aren't designed to be true in the first place. They're just designed to be effective.
Mistake number 2 is automated conversation. Imagine wearing a pair of augmented reality glasses that constantly predict and feed you the exact right words to say to the person standing right in front of you. I really have to ask you, what happens to genuine human connection when a conversation becomes a predicted algorithmic output instead of a shared lived experience? If you're both just reading prompts off a screen, you aren't actually talking, you're just executing code.
Mistake number 3, AI ethics. We constantly debate how we can align AI to make it ethical, but the author emphasizes something huge here. True ethics requires human vulnerability and responsibility. If a self-driving car makes a fatal error, who looks the victim's family in the eye? You can't send a machine to do that. A machine can only simulate a decision. It can never ever actually possess moral responsibility.
And mistake number 4 is the concept of smart states. This is that dystopian idea of using predictive AI to govern society and preemptively stop crime before it even happens. The warning here is stark. If we replace the human rule of law with automated prediction, we destroy human freedom. The author argues this essentially turns society into a giant human farm, where our behavior is just perfectly managed data. No thanks.
So how do we survive this? Section 5, How to Live Virtual.
The solution to this whole existential crisis is actually pretty straightforward, conceptually at least. We must virtualize virtuality. What does that mean? It means we have to treat the virtual as exactly what it is and stop confusing it for reality. We've got to stop applying old-world rules of truth and reference to systems that are, fundamentally, just predictive games.
We really need rules for the virtual game. And you know who already does this perfectly? Gamers. When you play a video game, you naturally separate your real physical self from your digital avatar. You treat the virtual world strictly as a game where physical consequences are totally suspended. You understand that your digital avatar isn't who you actually are. It's just a temporary state of becoming within a simulation. By keeping that healthy boundary, you don't lose your mind when your character takes damage because you know it's not real. We have to start applying this exact same mindset to our AI-driven digital lives. Which brings us to one final lingering thought. If we are entering an era where our digital existence is best handled by treating ourselves as avatars in a predictive algorithmic game, who exactly is playing? Are we the players, or are the predictive algorithms playing us? It's a massive existential shift that we are all living through right now, every single time we log on or watch a YouTube video like this one. Keep questioning the reality in front of you, and I'll catch you in the next one.